Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's Katie here, and we are back with another episode of the Treat Your Business podcast. Now, today, I'm going to share a powerful reflection from an Activate Masters Boardroom session, which we ran after our live strategy days. Now, last week, I told you a fabulous story about Pete and Jojo, and you must go back and listen to that episode if you want to know how you can make more money and take home more money in your business. But what we did this time is that we had a half day session around a boardroom with me, and this is for our Activate Masters program members who are in their second year of the Activate program. Now, these boardroom sessions are where we get super laser focused on your individual challenges, and there was some really powerful conversations that came up, and I know that the conversation that I'm going to choose to share with you is going to resonate with so many of you, especially if you're a clinic owner and especially if you are a mum. But boys, don't switch off, because this might resonate for you as well. Because let's be honest, a lot of you listening are trying to do everything. You're running the business, you're raising the kids, you're making the lunchboxes, you're doing the school runs, you're sorting the washing, you're running the house, you're booking the clubs, and I'm going to guess that you're also probably exhausted. Now, dads listening to this, I know that you will be doing this as well. I'm talking from a place of being a new mom, who clearly has got no idea yet because I don't have toddlers. But the conversation that I heard in the room, there was a lot of people that resonated with it around the table, because there was a lot of ladies around the table, but there was also someone around the table who could come at it from the men's perspective, the male perspective, and really helped us see how we need to do things a little bit differently, because he was able to see this showing up in his wife as well. So I want to talk about the hidden cost of doing it all, and why, if we don't start valuing our time in a different way, you're not ever going to break the cycle of being constantly ran ragged in your business. You're just going to keep going round and round in circles, or it's just going to keep getting worse. And you'll say, it'll get better when the little one goes to nursery, or it'll get better when the little one goes to school, or it'll get better when he's in after school club. And we just hear ourselves saying the same thing over and over again. So let's talk about why valuing your time is one of the biggest game changers. And I'm going to talk to you about how this showed up for one of our members. And I know that this is going to resonate for a lot of you listening to this. Welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast, the show for clinic owners who want real, honest advice and tried and tested ways of doing things. I'm Katie Bell, and this is the new era of bigger insights and bolder conversations to help you grow a clinic and a life you love. Let's dive in. So one of our members came with what seemed like a fairly straightforward marketing question. Stay with me on this. Basically, who did she need in the business from a marketing point of view to actually implement the marketing strategy she had written for a whole 12 months? I was like, wow, I'm so impressed. She got all the social posts, she got the content, she knew what needed to be going out there. She just didn't want to be actually the person to schedule the posts. And she said, I need them to take this off my plate. Like, this needs to go. And we dug into this a little bit more. And I think one of the things that I think is really important as a coach is the ability to be able to listen, but not just listen to what they're telling you, is to be able to ask the right questions to really unravel what the real issue is. Because I knew as soon as this fabulous member said, I need somebody to implement my marketing calendar, I knew that was not the real issue, because that's not something that you bring to a boardroom session when you've got me on a one-to-one basis. Because we'll just hire a kid that just puts your social posts out there. And by the way, that's not going to make a big enough difference in your business anyway. It's not going to bring you enough clients for you to warrant doing that. So what else is going on here? And that's, I feel like, one of our most powerful things that we can do is to really get underneath the surface and find out what is going on, so that we can give you absolutely the advice that you need and the guidance that you need to be able to move forwards. And actually, what we revealed was that she was feeling completely trapped. She was doing everything. They've recently relocated, so she's running the clinic from a distance. She's managing the kids. She's trying to work between school hours. She's responsible for the schoolrooms. Her husband's just taken on a new job, and there's all that comes with that. She's managing all the washing, the whole of the household, and just juggling a bazillion other things. And yes, her husband has a big job. And yes, she said it comes with a healthy salary, but it was all still on her. And she was running a whole business as well. And the thing is, what I could see was that she was pushing and she was forcing and she was hustling her way through everything. And one of the things that the ego then looks to do is just get quick wins, easy wins, which is, I just need somebody to actually initiate these posts. And that would have just solved like a very small part of this problem. But she was hustling, working harder, just doing longer hours and actually having no time for herself, rather than being able to step back, use her power and be able to say, is this the best use of my time? Is this actually serving me? Not just posting on social media, but actually running one of the boys' lunches in because he forgot his lunchbox, or his PE kit, or doing the Tesco shop, or having to juggle all the million things that happen that most people don't see happen to keep a household moving forwards. So if you're listening to this and nodding along, it's because society conditions us, and I'm sorry that this is going to turn into a men versus women thing, but it's just what it is. It conditions us as women to have to take on everything. Like, we are meant to be Superwoman. We're meant to be able to run the business, be at every school drop-off, make nutritious lunchboxes, show up at every club, keep the house running, somehow magically have time to wear collagen masks, white your teeth, do your 65 minutes of meditation 3 times a day, be skinny. And this is what society are putting on us as mums. And guys, I'm sure you've got a whole different like societal thing that's going on for you, but this is what is all over my Instagram feed. And somehow we've got to also magically grow a thriving business. But when you're the one that's doing everything, your time basically gets devalued. So you start to see your time as less important than everybody else's. And that really keeps you stuck. Because the truth is, you could be spending hours working on your business, building profit, creating impact. But instead, we're running to school with forgotten lunchboxes. We're scrubbing the bathroom. We're stuck in Tesco for the 3rd time this week because you forgot the pasta. And the list just goes on and on. What we do when we're in the boardroom is we present the challenge. I then strip that challenge back and delve deeper and ask those questions that really get to the actual problem. And we ask clarifying questions as a boardroom. So we go around the table, we ask anything that we need to know more of to be able to help and advise this particular client. And so we got all the information we needed. And then what we do is we offer feedback. So we'll go around then and we'll give her feedback. She's not allowed to say anything. Okay. She just has to listen. Now, what this means is that there are things that she's going to hear that she's like, yeah, that actually really resonates to me. That's going to work for me. There's things that she's like, no, that's not quite how I want to do it. But she just takes it all on. And then we ask her, what's the action? What are you going to do? Of everything that you've heard, what's the thing that you're going to take forward? We did all of that. And I talked about her doing an analysis of her week. Every single task. Write it all down. And then categorize it. You can use ChatGPT to help you do this. So basically, I wanted to know, what is business building? How much time are we spending on certain tasks in the business? How much time are we spending on driving? How much time are we spending on things that could be outsourced? Shopping, cleaning, window cleaning, valeting your car, going to get new school shoes, being in Tesco's, hoovering the carpets, whatever it is, walking the dog. I don't care, or just document everything, analyze the whole week, and then you can ask ChatGPT to put it into categories for you. this is when it gets really interesting, because once you've listed everything, you can start to ask yourself, what is the real cost of me doing this? For example, could you get a cleaner? Could you get a weekly Ocado order delivered every Sunday? Could you do some simple meal planning? Could you buy a robot Hoover? Could you hire someone to valet your car? Could you get someone to run errands for you? And here's a big one. Could you stop rescuing everybody? So if your child forgets their lunchbox, is it really the end of the world? Or could they just have a hot dinner at school that day? Because the truth is, your time has value. But when we aren't people pleasing and when we're not rescuing, we then question, who are we really? And what are people going to think of me if I say, no, not bring that lunchbox in, you're going to have a hot dinner, tough titties? Then we start questioning our own worth and if we're good enough, if we're being a good enough mum, if we're being a good enough wife, a good enough friend. And that's why we then end up keeping everything in our control and not being able to delegate. And I always tell the story of when my husband has asked me for a lift somewhere. It doesn't happen very often. But my reply is always, I'll pay for a taxi for you. Because genuinely, the cost of that taxi is cheaper than the value of my hour in the business. And that's not being cold and that's not being a selfish person. It's just about being smart. Like, when you start valuing your time like that, you start creating space. And when you create space, you start to see what actually needs to be done in your business and what you actually need from a marketing point of view and all of those things, those decisions that you need to make. And I said to this particular member, you have no space. I can feel it. You are trying to hustle and trying to push and out strategy the shit out of all of this. And it isn't going to work because you're just going to make the wrong decisions. You've got to create some space for your business, for yourself, and for your own well-being. Now, don't get me wrong. This was a big, powerful, uncomfortable conversation. There were tears. There are always tears involved because we are real people running businesses and it's hard and it feels lonely. And sometimes you need a very safe space to vent and tell people what's really going on for you in your personal life, because that's often is what's going to limit how you show up in your business. So I want you to really think about this today. Where are you undervaluing your time? What are the tasks that you're doing? And it can be like, if you really love walking your dog, how do we make more time for walking your dog? How, all the things that you think you should be doing, like, how can we organize that? How can we leverage that? How can we put structures in place so that you are not stuck meal planning, ironing, chasing lost PE kits because you're just going to stay trapped? And often the resistance then is, I don't then have the money to pay somebody else to do it. And that is a very short-sighted mindset, because you will go and find the money. Because if you just spent that 1 hour making bigger, better decisions in your business, it will pay for that person 10, 20, 30 times over. If you're outsourcing, if you're delegating, if you're saying no and valuing your time, suddenly you open up the possibility of building a business and a life that actually feels good, rather than trying to be everything to everybody, but you're then nothing to yourself or you're nothing to nobody. So could you do a time analysis this week? Could you write down every single thing that you do in a week? And I'm not even joking. From the most annoying thing in my house is when you go upstairs for a wee and there's no toilet roll. We have Who Gives a Crap, which is a toilet roll subscription service, but it's in the downstairs cupboard in the utility room. You then have to go back downstairs, get the toilet roll, go back upstairs. Okay, this is all small things, right? Really small things. But then I thought, okay, maybe this could be a weekly job that the cleaners have to do, that they just restock the toilet roll. And that's just one of the things that I add on to the list of what they're doing, because it's just that one little thing that I don't now have to think about. And that is an example of the billion things that we do in a week in a household that goes unnoticed, but allows the household to function. And guys, you might be doing this as well. So write every single thing you do in a week down, categorize it by using ChatGPT, and then look at things that only you can do, what could be outsourced, what doesn't actually need doing, and what you freaking hate doing. And then take one action. Just get a cleaner. Get somebody else to wash the towels in the clinic. Set up food delivery. Just put a list together with all your favourites and just press go and it arrives on a Sunday and you've got the whole week ahead of you done. Or just start saying no to rescuing somebody. Start small, but start. So if you're listening to this and you do feel run ragged, please hear this. In fact, I was going to say you're not a superwoman, but you are. You are a superwoman, but you don't have to be. You can be a superwoman in so many other ways that actually feel good for you. Your time is really valuable. You are really valuable, and your business needs you to be working on the things only you can do. Your family needs you to have energy left at the end of the day. And most importantly, you deserve a life that doesn't feel like it's an absolute hamster wheel. So start valuing your time. Outsource what you can. Stop rescuing everybody else. And give yourself the permission to step out of the trap of doing it all. Because when you do, you'll be amazed at how much more energy, profit, and freedom that you can go on to create. That's the power of being in the room. Thank you for tuning in today. I can't wait to hear what you decide to let go of this week. And please tell me, drop me a message, because I always want to support you, cheer for you. I'm in your corner. And the thing I said to one of the members who texted me after the day, and I just said, we've got you back, right? And she was like, yeah. And that feeling of having somebody else with you on your business journey is more powerful and more needed than I think you probably realize. Because these are the exact conversations that will change your business and will change your life. Thank you for joining me in this week's episode. See you soon. Thanks for listening to the Treat Your Business podcast. Hit subscribe now and keep joining me for bigger insights, bolder conversations to help you build a clinic and a life you love.